Welcome to Living a Healthy, Vibrant Life podcast. I'm your host, Harold Chatman. At the current moment, we're not taking any sponsors, but if you wish to support me, visit our website, hvlwell.net. And also, we have the best flavored collagen. We have unflavored, peach mango, and our newest flavor, strawberry lemonade. If you struggle with skin hydration, if you struggle with skin elasticity, if you need a new supplement routine, or if you even want just the best quality ingredients, try us against any collagen product out there. And also, we offer personal training services and also health and life coaching. Book an appointment with us and check out our website. And at the current moment, we're at the Panoramic Brand Studio, best podcast studio in Houston. All right, we have a special guest with us. HPD Sergeant, published his own book, founder of Houston Prestige Project, and founder and the father of three, Jeremy Lahar.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate the opportunity to come talk to you.
Oh, man. Been a minute, huh?
It has. It's good to see you again, man.
You're the first law enforcement officer I got on here.
Awesome. Well, it's an honor to be here.
Yeah, man. I'm going to get some more on here, but you're number one.
I appreciate it.
But, yeah, man, first one was touch on, like, people like to know, like, how we met.
Okay.
So, usually how I best say, like, me and Jeremy used to work out at the same gym. And that's when I was in law enforcement then, and he was in law enforcement. And but I didn't really know who he was. And so, we started getting to know, like, same people in the gym. And so communicated, and then that's pretty much how we got close. And then ever since then, we probably didn't keep in touch, like, specifically, because I would end up getting out of law enforcement, getting into training, and then he stayed in and started going up the ranking. But pretty much that's how we met. Then he's been a solid person, been consistent. Stayed out of trouble. He take care of his business. I take care of mine. And I don't know, it's always good to have solid people in your circle.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So, man, let's get it started, man. So what were you doing before you got into law enforcement?
So I was running an after-school program. So I went to school for communications out of state, played football up there, and then I came home, was trying to figure out what the next move was. And I ended up getting my teacher certification. And while I was working in an elementary school at Niche Elementary in Acres Homes, opportunity arose for me to run the after-school program with all those kids I had built relationships with.
Right.
And so I ended up doing that, working for Be a Champion as a nonprofit. And got that opportunity and really, got my first taste of working as a supervisor because I managed the whole thing.
Right.
We had about 300 kids that were there and staff and stuff. So had a good time doing that. So I almost went full into education before going into law enforcement.
Okay. So what triggered you to do that transition into, like, teaching into, like, law enforcement?
I say God, man, just trying to listen to him and stay on the path that he had laid out for me. And I feel like my time there at Niche running the after school program was important to get me to the position that I'm in now. And so with grants, when you're funded by a grant, you've been employed by a grant, it's only for a certain number of years. Right. And as the time started to pass, I realized, hey, I could stay here and wait on this grant to run out, or I can figure out what the next move is. And so one of the things that I love more, well, just about as much as working with kids, is communicating and helping people. Right. And so I had some, mentors. My godfather is a police officer, and he actually talked me into it because I was thinking about being a firefighter. Oh, really? But they had a freeze at the time. Okay. So I ended up trying out for the state troopers, but that didn't work. I couldn't pass the math test, man. I'm trash at math. And firefighters were on a freeze, and so I ended up putting in for HPD, and it's, been a blessing ever since.
How long have you been on with HPD?
Since 2011, man.
2011? Oh, wow. So
been a little minute.
Yeah,
coming up like 13 years, something like that.
Dang, 2011, 23. What academy? Did you go through the academy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
212.
212?
Yeah,
okay.
212.
Man, that's pretty cool, man. So how did you, like, where did you start? Like, when you first finished as a cadet, like, where did you start?
I'm from the north side, right? I grew up in Studewood, so when I came out the academy, I purposely did not want to go to the side of town where I grew up on, because you don't want to run into people that you might, have grown up with, man. It's just a weird situation.
Cut me a break, man.
Yeah, and you can't. I got to do my job, right? Yeah. So I ended up going to Southwest. So I started off on patrol at Fundren. I did that for about
Fundren? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. It was, I mean, but you got to think, man, people are people. And so I was comfortable over there because it was no different than the people that I grew up with.
Right.
So if you talk to people in anywhere around Houston, the way that you want to be talked to, you're not going to have any issues. So I started off on patrol there, did that for about 4.5 years. And I had a sergeant that used to get on us about checking our emails.
Oh, man.
And I checked my emails one day and saw that job posting. And by the grace of God, man, I put in for it. And it basically had everything that I learned in my degree and what I feel like God has blessed me with the gift to do, which is like public speaking and connecting with people and stuff like that. And now I get to do it, full time. So did that as an officer. Did not want to leave, but I still wanted to get in some type of leadership role. And so I promoted out of there, which when you promote, you have to go back to the street.
Really?
So I went back to the street.
As a sergeant?
Yeah. You start over. Your seniority starts
Damn.
over. So you go back. I went to do my patrol time at Greenspoint.
Oh, boy.
And I did that for about almost 2 years. You have to do at least a year.
On patrol?
And then, yeah. And so I learned as much as I could there. And then I was, blessed with the opportunity to make my way back up to community affairs. It was public affairs as an officer. It's now community affairs. And now I'm there as a supervisor.
Okay, so you went from patrol. So you went from patrol, then you graduated to sergeant, then you went back to the patrol, started over, and then now you're in community affairs.
Yes, sir.
So how is community affairs? Like, what's the difference between that as a sergeant? Like,
community affairs is amazing, man. I love it. As a sergeant on patrol, your functions are being, support your officers, whether it be report writing or on their calls if they have issues, going out there and just guiding them to, be the best officers that they can be.
Right.
And then where I am now, it's kind of the same, but I get to continue to do some of those initiatives and programs that I had already established when I was an officer, while also supporting them and helping them come up with ideas how we can better, connect with the community.
That's pretty cool, man.
Appreciate it.
Like, so you have like officers that you as under that community affairs, or just?
Yeah. So you have we have a deputy director, we have division managers, we have a lieutenant who directly supervises us as sergeants, and then we have officers. And so each sergeant has officers assigned to them. So I have about 6 or 7 officers.
Okay. So what do y'all like mainly do? Like, and other than like going to community,
bro, you name
schools?
it, we do it. Like it's a lot of stuff that's behind the scenes that folks don't know that we're doing. But I've been blessed with the opportunity to supervise liaisons. So for every community, whether it be Middle Eastern, whether it be Asian, LGBTQIA, whether it be the African American, whether it be we have a Jewish community liaison. All those officers are a liaison that is a sounding board, that is a connection that connects HPD to that community. Okay. So whenever they have community events, whenever they have initiatives, programs, events that they reach out directly to them, and it's their job to make sure that we're, providing adequate presence and, support for them.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I'm still take a step back. So how did so is it pretty competitive putting in for a sergeant?
Well, as far as the sergeant process with us, yes, it is very competitive. You have to have at least 3.5 years on to be eligible to even promote. And then there's a test that you have to take.
Oh, you got to take
and that test is hard. That is the hardest test I've ever taken at any level of education. You got about over 3,000 pages of subject matter that you have to try and, remember and retain. And then you're asked 100 questions off of all of that stuff that you've read, and hope that the stuff that you remember is the stuff that they're going to ask you, man. And that was a really, really challenging test. That's just the written portion of it. Then you have the assessment portion if you make the top 250. The top 250 goes to the assessment portion, and then it's more of like scenario based. You're in a hotel, they have cameras on you, the screen comes on, hey, you have this issue on the street, it's a active shooter, how will you handle it? And you have a certain amount of time to tell them how you handle it. Based off of how you do there, they add it all up, and then you list it from 1 to however many people promote.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it is competitive.
That sounds like that was a pretty intense process.
It was, but it was definitely worth it, and I was blessed to get it on the first try.
Oh, wow.
I don't take that for granted.
I know, because usually that takes a couple tries.
Yeah, some folks do, man, and I'm not a great test taker, man, but I had, it was kind of strategic, like I had built my time up so that I could take off 2 months so that I could read like 15, 16 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
Because that's the only way that I was going to retain it enough for that test.
Oh yeah. So I'm guessing like since you're in the community part, I'm guessing you're good with like people. So is that like a gift that you have or something that you learned or?
That's definitely something that's a gift that I was blessed with, man. It's something that used to get me in trouble when I was in school, man.
Oh man.
Like, I was always that kid that had to have his desk next to the teacher because you couldn't put me at the table with the kids because I was gonna have fun. I was gonna talk. I was gonna do my work. I wasn't gonna be disrespectful, but I like to talk.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've been blessed with the ability to connect with people, man. Like I'm comfortable in any room with or without this uniform. So when I'm going into somebody's house that I've never met before and they're having one of the worst days of their life and they need assistance, man, I can listen to them, I can empathize with them, and I can connect with them and figure out the best way to help them, find a solution to the problem.
That's pretty cool, man. But I know it's not too many. A lot of officers struggle with that.
Some do, man, and that's that's something that our department is trying to do
better job.
They're doing a better job of helping folks communicate and like with social stuff like that. But I feel like that's something it either comes easy to you and you can work at it to continue to grow at it, so you're on a different level, or it's something that you struggle with and you have to put the work in to try and improve on it. And a lot of folks are just like, nah, I'm just gonna show up to work, I get called 911, I show up, I get the information, I get the report, I'm gone. And they don't realize that was an opportunity for them to, leave a positive, lasting impact on, everyone that they came in contact with.
Yeah, that's one thing. When I used to work in law enforcement, I used to come across that they just assume, we assholes, rough. But I get it's kind of like a good amount of rotten apples in there that make people like yourself, and also good people in there like make it challenging. Mm-hmm. But or do they do like any form of like training or code? Do y'all have like classes and stuff like that to be able to understand with the public and stuff?
We have classes. We have a cultural diversity bus tour where we have people from all those communities that I mentioned before. They have a panel. Each one of those people come in and they talk to cadets before they even get out of the academy.
Oh wow!
They talk to them. They explain the differences in cultures and how to interact with different folks. Mm-hmm. And then they get on the bus the next day. And they take them to those communities. Really? And they show them different landmarks, and they'll have like a speaker come out and speak to them so that they can gain a better understanding, because you got some folks that come from out of town. Mm-hmm. You got some folks that may not have ever been in that part of Houston. Right. May not have ever dealt with certain people from different socioeconomic and ethnicities. So the only way that you get them more comfortable is by exposing them to them and educating them. So I definitely think our department does a good job of that.
That's pretty cool, man. Like, especially the way y'all doing training and educating more, and then community. So in your branch of area, do you mainly just go to the schools, or do you go to like nursing homes and stuff like that, or like what area? We
do everything, man. We do from daycares all the way to assisted living to multi-service centers, like people. Mm-hmm. People come in all ages and age ranges. So we just try and make sure that we're finding a way to connect with them, across the board.
Is the main job just to connect with them to get better trust in the police system? Is that mainly what you're doing?
That, and as well as educating them on how to avoid being victims of crime. So it's about safety. It's about education mostly. Educating them on crimes such as jugging, sliders, just some folks, they live in kind of a bubble.
Box.
And what you don't know is what you don't know. And you don't realize how dangerous they may be for you. And you can avoid a lot of those, danger zones of putting yourself in position to become a victim of a crime if you just change a few things. And so it's our job to go out and educate them on that. We have Mr. Daniels does a great job. We have some officers that go out and they teach people about active shooter. Right. How to react in, corporate America and in the schools if that stuff happens. We go out and talk to kids about stranger danger, gun safety, any topic, you name it. It's our job to go out if they request, or if we come up with an event or initiative to, like you said, increase and improve their relationship with the public, but also educate them at the same time.
That's pretty cool. Especially, I know it's do y'all get like a little forms that when they request you guys out and then you just schedule time to go out there and just
because every program is not the same. Like what we go and talk to an elementary class about is not what we're going to go talk to a college class about or a high school class. What we go talk about senior citizens, the things that we're trying to educate them on, that the crimes are not going to be the same as high school, right? So whatever request that they have, they put it in and it's free. They just let us know what topic they want us to cover, what date, how many people are going to be there, and that'll determine how many officers we need to send out. If we have officers that specialize in certain things, we'll send them. And it's just as easy as that to get a hold of us.
What would you say like is the most like, did you see like the most challenging part of your job?
The most challenging part of my job, I would say, is I have to go back to my time on patrol. And it's like, if you do this job for the right reasons, you want to help everybody that you come in contact with, right?
Right.
So they call 911. People don't normally call 911 when everything is going good.
Yeah.
It's because something's going on. Either something happened or they're in the middle of something happening.
Right.
And they may not know how to find a solution to that problem or get themselves out of it. And you have those times where it may be a domestic violence situation, and you're giving them all of the resources, but you're constantly getting called back to this house, and you're separating, you know, the person, you're separating them, and you're talking to the victim, and you're like, hey, I can't help you if, you know, you don't be honest with me and give me enough information to help you. But in those situations, they remove them from their support system, and they make it so that they can depend on them 100%. So it scares them to possibly, you know, say, yes, this person did that to me, because if they go to jail, then who's going to pay the bills, or who's going to support the family? So that's the hardest part to me, is seeing people who you just want to help them so much, but you can't, you know, help themselves. Or that, crimes with children, that's the hardest part to me, seeing that. And then crimes against women. Because I was raised by women, my mom and my sister. So like I said, I empathize. Right. So whenever I go out and I see a woman, you know, and she's a victim of something, I see my sister, I see my mom, I see my wife, my daughters, right? So just knowing what your limitations are, knowing that you can't save the world, but just helping as many people that will allow you to when you put in those positions.
Yeah, I would say that was a little challenging when I was in, just going into the domestic dispute, getting called back from the same homes. It's like, we separating you, but like until you admit to like want to put him in jail or something like that, like, I don't want to go to jail, I want y'all just help him move away.
Just tell us that he hit you.
Yeah.
Because you don't even have to press charges. The state of Texas will press charges. But if you just let us, they won't even let us know. Like, they won't even say, no.
They just want y'all to just break it up and then come back in.
Most of the time, it's a neighbor that called, you know. And
hearing noise. Yeah.
And it puts them in a position, and I'm just like, man, I don't want to leave. You know, I know when I leave, things might get worse before they get better, but all you can do is just give them those resources that they can reach out to. But
yeah, I would say that's pretty challenging. Do you still go on patrol sometimes, or do you just 100% in community?
I'm full-time community outreach. Whenever that, you know, if we have certain overtime, or, you know, we have national disasters or stuff like that, or anytime that we're mobilized, I'm still the police, you know what I mean? When I'm working extra jobs, I'm still the police. But as far as like running calls for service, no, that's not my job anymore. It's certain parts of it I miss, though. There's certain parts of it I miss. I miss the growth, and you see more growth in officers on patrol. Like, you can see it. If they're struggling with certain parts of report writing, they're struggling with certain parts of communication. If you go out there and don't do their job for them, but kind of show it and show them how much easier their job can be if they just change a few things, the next time you go out, you see them implementing those things. And next time you read their report, they've changed it and it's improved. It's kind of like coaching. It's kind of like personal training. You start seeing those people lose their weight. You start seeing them take a hold of their health. And it's like, okay, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah,
that's probably the reason why I feel like I wasn't able to make the change like I wanted to when I was in the department in regards to like helping people. It's just like with the supervisors, with the egos, and then with the not the news, but how political it can be in there. I don't know, for some reason it got to me a lot, like in there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's gonna be there at different levels in whatever department that you're in. But I tell my officers when they would go out, they would get caught up in what this officer stayed on this call for this long, and he's driving this car, and he handled this call like that. I say, look, you got 8 hours to be here. Okay, when you here for them 8 hours, if it's you by yourself or it's you and your partner, worry about what you do within those 4 doors. Don't worry about anybody else, because that's all you can control. You can't control what anybody else does. So when you get out of that car and you go handle that call, handle it to the best of your ability, get back in your car, go to the next one, do the best report that you can do so you don't get embarrassed in court, right? And if you just think like that, I feel like the outside noise, it gets quiet. And you know, it may be easier to do in a bigger department than it is.
Yeah, I was in a smaller department.
Yes.
Smaller.
Oh yeah, I've heard. Yeah. So you know, I definitely empathize with you.
I probably would done a little better at HPD because like me, like communicating with people, that comes like really easy to me.
Yeah.
Because I always look at people as people. The only thing that makes me different, I got a uniform on, the gun, the badge. But other than that, if I take the stuff off, we the same person at the end of the day.
And you got to be able to see yourself. Like, you can't get out and be looking down your nose at people when you get out of that patrol car.
Right.
Or when you come in contact with somebody, because that could easily be you. Or that could easily be your family member when you're not there.
Yeah.
Right? And you will want whatever law enforcement officer that they come in contact with to treat them the same way that they would want their loved ones treated.
Right.
And I feel like if everybody kind of had that mindset, like, and took each call serious, it's some calls, you know, it's open and shut. All right, they gone. Okay, you get it. But just something as small as like a burglary report, you don't realize how much you staying there a little bit longer and talking to the person and asking them, you know, just conversating with them, right?
Making them feel
taking their mind off of, this might be the worst day of their life, man. Everything they worked for was stolen, right? That goes a long way. Instead of just getting what you need on that piece of paper and getting out so you can go do the report and go to the next call. Like, and that's what I missed about patrol.
Yeah, kind of making people feel at ease.
Yes.
Because for us, it's like, that ain't nothing.
Yeah.
But for them, that could be the worst thing ever because they ain't never experienced nothing like that.
It might be the first time they ever come in contact with law enforcement.
Yeah.
Or it might be the last time. So it's up to you.
Or on top of that, it could have had a bad influence with law enforcement, and all of a sudden now you just changed your mind in a way.
Exactly. And that's why I think I try and find different ways, different channels of communication to get that out there, like what we're talking about through podcasts, to going and talking, to going and doing stuff in the barbershop, right? Just having uncomfortable conversations that some people may stray away from. Like, nah, we can have the conversation. I'm gonna tell you why we may think a certain way.
Yeah.
But I also understand where you coming from, and let's meet in the middle.
Yeah, people, I guess when you look at like meeting in the middle, people gotta understand like being on patrol, you know, that could be, you know, we don't know who we pulling over. We just know like who the car registered to. Just like what happened, I think Joseph Williams, not Joseph, but the sheriff that got shot recently. He was a client of mine. You
did tell me that.
Yeah, he was a client of mine. We was training for about a week and a half, and then that week we didn't train because he had something to do, and then next thing you know,
he's popping up there.
I was like, whoa. I said, no, it ain't my client, you know. And then I reached out to the brother. The brother told me he gonna make it.
That's good,
you know. But
because he's a twin, right?
Yeah, it's twin. Yeah,
small world, man. My wife ended up growing up going to the same church as them. So when she found out,
that's how we went to the same church together.
Yeah, she
went to the same church. We went through the police academy around the same time. Like, he was a class above me, but we all knew each other, and so that's how I was able to connect.
And that's how crazy this job is, man. And that's why I try and explain to people, like, you don't know what call they just came from. They may have just come from being a secondary officer, seeing their coworker, their classmate, their best friend in that situation, or get hurt in a situation like that. And now that person is transported, they're gonna be okay. Okay, well, your shift is still going on. You still got to get back in service and run the next call. Just like we were saying, man, you don't know what that officer may be coming from, and just like we don't know what that person on that traffic stop may have just dealt with. They may have just had an argument with their wife or something like that, and you pulling them over, and it's just piling on how bad the day is going. So I've been cussed out on traffic stops.
Oh, man, me too, man. I've been cussed out. Somebody got out their cars. Like, I'm sitting here like,
and so, but you know, they're gonna mirror the energy that you give them. So when I had somebody cuss me out, as soon as I walked to, what the and I said, hold on, man, I'm gonna take 2 steps back, and then I'm gonna walk back up here. We gonna start over.
Right.
Because I'm not cussing at you. I don't appreciate you cussing at me. I expect the same respect that I'm giving you. And when you do that, it gives them a chance to kind of turn down. Because just because we have a uniform on, we show up to a situation doesn't mean that they were on 10 when somebody called 911. Just because you show up don't mean they go down to 2. Yeah. You have to talk them down. You have to de-escalate the situation.
I would say that's probably like 100% most of law enforcement right there. De-escalate situations. Because not all situations are on 10, but sometimes on 10 you can de-escalate it and it go a whole different route. But if you struggle with de-escalating or communicating, like you say what you do, it can be really challenging.
I definitely feel like I'm speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for the department, but in my experience, 90% of this job is communication.
It is.
10% is law enforcement.
It is.
And if you get that 90% down and that comes easy to you, that 10% is like just a part of your job.
Right.
But if you can talk people, like we were talking before we turned the cameras on, I was like, look, bro, like I've been on almost 13 years and I haven't had to fight with anybody unless they weren't in their right mind and they were on drugs.
Right.
Other than that, you know, they ran and I had to hawk them down, right?
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it was like, I'm gonna talk you into these handcuffs.
Right.
And it doesn't benefit me to be, you know, unprofessional and keep kicking the ant bed with you. I gotta take you to jail and take the handcuffs off of you, and I gotta deal with you while I'm processing you.
Right.
So if I can de-escalate things, I ain't saying just let you run over me.
Right.
But if I show you a certain level of respect and let you know, look, man, I ain't here to judge you, but I gotta do my job.
Right.
Unfortunately, the DA has accepted the charges, so I gotta take you to jail.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bad news. The good news is I'm gonna let you choose the radio station on the way.
Mm-hmm.
Something that small is gonna calm them down. They're gonna be like, you know what, man, I messed up. I know
Right.
some people take accountability, some people don't.
Right.
But by the time they get to the jail, they're like, you know what, man, thank you.
Right.
And I would go on scenes with officers, and then by the time we got them in the back seat, they would be like, thank you. And the officer would be like, why are they saying thank you? And I'd be like,
Right.
because you took the extra 5 minutes to talk to them and find out what they need. You took the extra 5 minutes to talk to their loved ones and tell them where you were going and where you were taking their loved one. You took the extra 5 minutes to ask Granny to go upstairs or Auntie to go upstairs and get them some shoes and a sweater because it's cold outside.
Right.
Instead of just being like, be quiet, get in the back seat, you going to jail, right?
Yeah.
And those little things, those
Make
little
a big difference.
communication kind of tactics, they go a long way.
But yeah, man, I'm gonna share a story with you how I de-escalated. I remember when I was on traffic, like I used to work like night shift. It was like a car that was speeding on the highway. You know, usually like when you're running traffic on a toll, it's not too many cars as it is. So I pulled over the guy. You know, he had a tail light out. I'm just pull him over. Just I need my stops. You know, you gotta have your stops. So I pulled him over, and he took slow to. He pulled over, and then found out. Long story short, his license was suspended, no insurance, and he had a couple of warrants out for his arrest. And he had some. That's when we was like pulling over. That's when it smelled like marijuana in the car. You know, that's when we was taking people to jail for it. And so of course he was being belligerent. He's like, man, he just pulled me over, fucked me over. He's like white Uncle Tom, shit like that. And then of course he being belligerent with me. Then I called for backup just in case if you want to put on the tussle. But so we pulled him over, took him to jail. Well, we pulled him over. DA took charges on him. And then, but long story short, when I put him in the back, he started like just rumbling back there, kicking the door. Kicking the door because he was pissed. Cause he's like, man, white Uncle Tom's out there, such and such like that. And then so I was like, man, go ahead and just take him to jail, take him. So I had to go ahead and took him. And then as we were driving, you know, he was talking to me. And then I had how I de-escalated was, I said, look here, man, if you don't calm down, I said, those detention officers, you know, they bored. So you're gonna do is two ways. You're gonna come out there civilized with me, or you're gonna get out the car or the detention officers are going to end up beating you up a little bit, and I gotta take you to the hospital because you don't make it harder for yourself. I say, look, man, if I put on some music for you or something, or what you want to talk about? And then he's like, man, why you pulling me over? I said, man, first of all, your tail light busted. If you never had your tail light, I would never put you over. I said, that's how smart you are. I said, ain't nobody else on the street. I said, if you're gonna be transporting drugs, driving suspended, at least get your tail light fixed. Cost less than $10, bro. He's like, oh man, it make me sound so bad. I said, just simple as that. I said, other than that, I would never put you over. If you know you have violations and stuff, drive the speed limit, and ain't too many people on the road.
Yeah, you came on the radar. I wasn't even looking for you.
I said, I wasn't even looking for you. I said, I'm just sitting there seeing the tail light. You know, I just pulled you over, make sure everything on the up and up, and then that's it. If you would have had that, I would never pulled you over.
Man, I had one. It was Christmas. I had to go back to patrol, so you don't get holidays off. So I'm working night shift, and it's like 3 a.m, and we get a assault in progress, and it's at a extended stay hotel. So we get there, all the rookies trying to walk all fast and stuff.
Right.
I'm walking, I'm looking at everything. I'm like, okay, this is on the 3rd floor. It's a short little guardrail right there, and it ain't nothing down there but concrete.
Oh boy.
So I'm taking that into account how I'm gonna handle this.
Right.
And so we walk up there. As soon as I turn the corner, I can hear them going back and forth. One of the officers went in there. He, they barking back and forth. Something. And I'm like, they turn around, put your hands behind your back. She's like, he hit me. So they start putting his hands behind his back. And when they get him outside, he starts like pushing back off of the wall. And it's 2 officers on him. And he like going back and forth, I need some shoes, give me some shoes. And they like, you be quiet, get out, stop fighting us or whatever. I put my hand on his back. I say, hey, brother, what's the plan? He was like, what? I said, what? I said, and one of the other officers, I had, be quiet. I said, what's the plan right now? It's 4 of us. We're on the 3rd floor. You already in handcuffs. What is your end goal right here? Like, have you thought this through?
Right.
You right. And that calmed him down. I said, why are you so upset? I want shoes. I said, brother, we'll go get you some shoes. It's cold out here. My feet cold. We ain't gonna have you out here with no, but you keeping yourself out here with socks on longer than you have to. Mm-hmm. And so something that small, go get his shoes, talk to him, take him down there, and he ended up going to jail for assault. But like that could have went left.
Yeah, especially I would could fight with him.
Yes. So those little things go a long way, like you said. It does.
So what would you say, like, outside of law enforcement, how are you like as a dad? Like,
man, that's the most important thing to me in my life, because I didn't have that growing up. So I don't want to miss anything. So I want to make sure that I'm present, like able, available. Like I don't want to miss anything, because my mom, like I said, my mom raised me and my sister, and my mom worked 2 jobs. She worked at Kroger and McDonald's, so we didn't have a car, so she was on the Metro. But she never missed any of my games. Right. She never missed any of my middle school games, even when I wasn't getting in the game. Right. She was at every game, and that just meant so much to me growing up, that I'm like, one, I gotta be there and be that father figure for my kids that I didn't have, so they don't have to figure out things on their own. And then 2, I don't want to miss anything, because I only get one chance to experience that. Right. You know what I mean? And I know how much it meant to me as a kid. I want them to know that daddy's their and mom's their biggest, cheerleader. So I'm all about my kids, man. I'm excited right now. I found my son a basketball coach to work with him. He's 7. Okay. One-on-one, because I feel like he's kind of outgrown what daddy's been working with him on fundamentals. My daughter, she had a spirit team tryout yesterday. Okay. And I got my oldest, I got a 13, a 8, and a 7. Okay. And so my oldest is playing volleyball. She has a game this coming Tuesday, so I'm excited to be there. I'm there taking pictures like a photographer and stuff. So I'm real big into that, man. Just helping them with their homework, like reading to them. Like I love that type of stuff. Everything that I didn't get, I want to make sure I'm giving them, so that they can see how important it is to know their development, and they can keep it going whenever they have kids.
Right. It's definitely like a big thing, being like present more than just like buying your love and stuff like that. Being present, helping.
And that's a trap with law enforcement, those extra jobs. Oh yeah. You can make a lot of money as a police officer, and you can get caught up in how much money you're making and how much stuff you're able to buy and all that, and you're in the household, but you're not there because you're too busy out here working, and you think you're doing the right thing. But me and my wife are on the same page. Like, she told me a long time ago, when I had to work a lot of them when we were, when they were smaller, she was like, I would rather have you here than have a bunch of money in the account. Right. We can budget the money, but I would rather have you here and be available with them than us have a bunch of stuff and the kids not want for nothing. Right. So it's about finding that balance. Yeah, balance. It is a trap. Work-life balance is number one to me. Yeah. And I feel like people get lost in law enforcement.
It is, because obviously, like first responders, like military, law enforcement, firefighters, EMS probably have the highest divorce rate, because you get caught up in doing extra jobs. Because it's almost like you're working 2 jobs, so it's hard for you to be present there for your family. Because I look at like your family is like a job too, and then also your kids too. You got to be there as a dad, and if you're not there all the time, they're always working.
Same. I completely agree. And for me, people are like, when you gonna take the test, move up? When you gonna take the? I'm like, I'm not saying I'm not able. I'm sure I could study and hopefully do well enough to put myself in the running to continue to promote or continue to move up the ranks or whatever. Some people just have career aspirations. For me, my family comes first. And I feel like I need to be in a place that gives me balance to be available for my family if something pops up at school. My kid's sick, I need to take them to the doctor or something like that. Or they having a function, I can take off. And I feel like, that's harder the higher you go. While you make more money and you have more opportunities to do whatever it is that you may want to do, all those opportunities and all that money, if I pass away 2 years from now,
it don't make me nothing.
All those people that I was working with they may come to my funeral, right? But my kids are going to be there, and they're going to be talking about the memories that we made and how I was always, there for them in those important times. And that's what's most important to me.
That's pretty much what means the most when you think about like overall, because ain't gonna do nothing but replace you. Yeah. But your kids and your wife, it's kind of hard to replace something like that, especially you're the dad. They can't make can't make another dad. You only got one.
Nah, and you only get to do this once. They only 7 once. They only 8 once, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what you're pouring into them, and you know the memories that you bake together, how you there for them. That's what determines who they are as grown-ups.
Right.
Because they're gonna remember that these are core memories. Like, I remember Daddy was always working, and I put my PhD on pause because of that. I had started it, and it's not something that I can't do. It just was very tedious, and it was taking me away from those one-on-one in the driveway with my son, or helping my daughters with their homework. I just was like, you know, it's not fair to me. It's not fair to them first for me to have my head down in the laptop trying to finish a paper and not be available to them. Right. So it's all about balance, man, for me.
Yeah, work-life balance, just having just a balance just in general, because like, you know, we all get caught up in work and playing the rat race, and we kind of forget what's important at home, you know. And I feel like that's almost need to be like taught, especially like if you want to decrease the divorce rate and also like the rate for law enforcement, first responders, because you know, it's extra jobs, they're gonna be there, but
they're when you need them. But if you don't need them, then there's no reason for you to be working them all the time. And I feel like that's what you get caught up in, all the money you didn't have when you were younger and all the money that you can make now, and it's not hard, you know. It's just most of the time it's just being there, and that's the trap. And I mentor a lot of, you know, younger officers when they first get on, when they coming out the academy, and I tell them that, like, hey man, it's a trap, you know. Don't fall for it. Make sure you have balance.
Right. How do you keep yourself like mentally like healthy and like strong and stuff like that? Like, how do you have that balance outside of, you know?
Something that we weren't, I don't know about you, but that we really weren't taught growing up. I have a therapist. Initially, she worked for HPD. She was one of the free psychologists that they give us, that we have the opportunity to go to psychological services if we need them. And I ended up meeting her there when we were doing like marriage counseling, like marriage maintenance is what we called it.
Right. That's important.
For sure. And so she ended up leaving and doing her own private practice. And, you know, I would only go to her when stuff was going on. And now I'm like, no, this is just like everything else. Your car needs maintenance.
Yeah.
Your body needs maintenance. Your brain, your mental, you know, it needs maintenance. So I call it mental maintenance. So I try and talk to her. We just do like, you know, Zoom calls for an hour, maybe once a month. So she just she holds me accountable and make sure that I'm not doing too much, you know, putting too much weight on the bar.
It's always good to consult with somebody that look at it from the like
outside.
There we go. It is
that unbiased opinion.
Yeah. Because like I always say, like when you're in something, it's hard for you to see. Like, but when you see somebody else looking at it from a like I always say, like somebody looking from like a bigger standpoint that can see it from the outside and also give you their personal opinion about what you may be lacking in or missing in, and give you better insight. Yeah. And I found that very informative and also educational, because like you may think you know it all, but when somebody else give you another perspective, just like for example when you educate people that you may pull over, or like when you go to a scene and like he didn't like the guy was in handcuffs, he didn't realize, you know, I have 4 officers, I'm in handcuffs.
He was caught up in the moment.
Yeah, he think I could still do something.
Because he was, like we said, he was on 10 before we walked up.
Right. And when you walked up, you looking at it from the outside, like, look at man, you in handcuffs. There's 4 of us. How you think this going in? It ain't going in good. But yeah, I think that's very important. Like just having the outlook that you have. I would say based off like what you know, definitely want to teach maybe a course probably in HPD about that. Like I don't know if you do it, but or y'all may have somebody that would be good for you to.
They have some courses. It's like balancing the badge, but it's mostly catered towards people in retirement.
I would say they need that more for like younger officers.
I agree. They do need to, and they may already be doing it. I'm not gonna say what they're not doing because I don't know everything that's going on within the department. I just try and do it as much as I can with as many people that I come in contact with. Whenever they ask me to go and
I feel like that's a big thing. You know, like you made a valid point. Like it's 10% law enforcement and 90% communication. Because I feel like a lot of things, that's why they say, like, same thing in marriages, communication. Marriages, like, we sitting there having a communication, And I feel like everything comes back to just communicating. And if you can't communicate properly, life is just challenging just in general.
It is. And I feel like marriage is a lot harder to communicate because you have feelings involved and emotions and stuff. So that's definitely something I'm always trying to improve on. My wife has helped me out tremendously with that because I have 2 degrees in communication and it's easy for me to communicate at work. But then when it's time for me to communicate with her, I'll be struggling sometime, because you have emotions connected to what you're trying to, convey. So I'm just blessed to have a spouse that makes me have those uncomfortable conversations. If we do have a disagreement, it'll be like she wants to talk about it as soon as it happens. Me, on the other hand, I need time to cool off and organize my thoughts, and then I'll come to you and talk to you. But I know we're gonna talk it out. We gonna eventually talk it out. And the longer we've been married, the sooner we talk it out. We don't let a day go by. We just go ahead and nip it in the bud.
Right. Yeah. Women, they think with their emotion, and we're more like logical creatures. So sometimes it's like you're having a logical conversation versus an emotional conversation, and sometimes it can be a little difficult because you're trying to have a logical, but she's looking at more emotional. And that can be challenging. I feel like it's always going to be somewhat challenging because we both look at it from different standpoints, a man and a woman. But
and there's so many variables that go into that, like her upbringing, how she sees a certain situation, my upbringing, how I see it, the love languages. You're trying to provide something for her that you want, but that might not be what she needs.
Right.
And just figuring all that out, man, it's work. It's work.
That's why I say it's a whole nother job. That's a whole nother job. You're married because you have your kids. That's one part of the job. Then also you have your marriage, because the thing, if you don't work on that, that's gonna go to shit sooner or later. Same thing with your kids. If you don't, and I see this with some of my clients, like some of them they didn't establish a good relationship with their kids, like when they were young, wasn't there, and so now their kids, as they're older, they don't have nothing to do with them. It's like
the kids remember, though.
Yeah, they remember that. If you was there or not there.
I remember playing catch by myself. You know what I'm saying? Throwing the ball on top of the roof and letting it roll down and catching it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they have more positive memories, that they can lean on and just, have that relationship with them so that they feel comfortable coming and talking to dad or mom, that we can help them, work through issues and teach them how to communicate. Right. Because, back in the day, it was like, don't do that, or you can't do this. Why? Because I said so. Yeah. And my mom, she's like, well, I really respect how you do it, because don't do that. I'll explain it to them. Look, this is why you can't do this, because A, B, and C can happen, and this is why mom and dad say you can't do it. Right. But I still want, okay, now I already explained to you. I didn't have to give you that. Right. I gave it to you. Right. Don't ask me again or I'm going to get upset, right? Right. And I feel like explaining them, in detail is going to make them people, adults and grown-ups that, like, don't just go with whatever somebody tells them because they told them. Right. You need to question it or you'll believe anything. Right. Right? So, just trying to learn from what you were raised and then try and do it a little bit better.
Improve it better. Yeah. So as we come to a close, what would you say a healthy, vibrant life mean to you?
Balance, man. And I'm constantly working at that. I try and find balance with my physical, because I'll get caught up in the hustle and bustle of running behind the kids and making sure my wife is good, and then working. And I didn't neglected myself working out, but I feel my best when I work out. Yeah. And then, like, finding the balance between that with the kids, making sure the wife is good because she needs attention as well, and then finding time to do different things like with the nonprofit and mentoring and stuff like that, but not putting myself in a position where I'm getting pulled in too many different directions to where I'm slacking with the kids or slacking with my wife. Right. And if I find myself, I've learned this being older, is like if I find myself getting pulled and like I'm like, okay, I need to take some weight off the bar so that I can make sure that the main thing is the main thing. Right. And not beating myself up because I'm goal driven. Not beating myself up because I'm not accomplishing all my goals, because my family is more important than me chasing a goal and neglecting them. Right. That's definitely important because you gotta look, like you said, that balance. Like having balance here, you got this, you got your life balance, you have your work, and also talking with your the other officers about communication. Then also you have your personal goals, then taking care of your health, because your health is your wealth. Then also the wife, and then also you seeing your counselor too. That's definitely, I wouldn't say like a lot to juggle, but it just make you more like present with yourself rather than like just being like, because most Americans, I call it, most on autopilot. They sitting in the trunk of their car, they in like
back of or in the passenger seat, not knowing what's going on because they just letting life happen to them rather than like knowing like what am I. And then next you know, like 20 years have passed you by, like I feel like I never accomplished this. I never really got this right.
Bro, I tell you, I swear I just went through the academy.
Yeah.
And now I'm 13 years in. Right. And I've been blessed to accomplish a few things, but one thing I have to do a better job of is, and she's talking about, my therapist told me, is like being in the moment and appreciating what you've done or what you're doing, because I'm like, okay, I was supposed to do that. God told me to do that. What's the next thing? You know what I mean? And I've never been a person to pat myself on the back. I just grind and
keep going,
get it done. Same, right?
Yeah.
And before you know it, like time is passing. You're like, dang, I did that, but did I really take the time to appreciate that when we know when it happened? You know what I mean? So I'm still working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be an ongoing process though, because that's just how you are, how you wired. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, as we come to a close, which one of these collagen flavors you want to try, man? Like strawberry lemonade or peach mango? I'll
try one of them, man.
Which one?
I'm good for each one. I'll probably do the
strawberry lemonade, peach mango. Which one?
Strawberry lemonade. Man.
Strawberry lemonade.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Do you take any like products, anything?
I do.
What you take?
What is that? My wife got that, man. I can't remember the name of it, but it's one of them pre-workouts, and then I do like the protein after.
Protein after?
Yeah, because I didn't realize the importance of like getting that protein in you and feeding your muscles after you done torn them.
Yeah.
I so used to just working out. You know, you just work out. Like I know if I work out, then I'm a either lose weight or gain muscle.
Right.
But I didn't realize the older I've gotten, as my metabolism has slowed down, that protein is very important.
Yeah, it is. See, I got it right here.
Yeah, for sure. I drank mine this morning, man. And
check it out, man. Check it out.
And it's good. It's good. It tastes like a regular drink. You don't even realize that you're drinking something that's good for you.
So one of the things I was big on with it, I didn't put no artificial color in there. There's no like fructose or sucrose, like processed sugar. So it's more just quality ingredients and try to make it clean as possible. It took me a while to put it together.
Okay.
Especially but it was definitely like a fun process.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, outside of work, man, I'm hitting the weights and stuff. I definitely get with you. And,
I can definitely tell you more about like optimizing your health, 'cause I'm big on stuff like that.
Okay.
And also, so what would you say, like, for people that want to get into law enforcement that's on the fence about it, like, what would you say, like, do you see it, like, getting better, like, in the future? Like, what do you think? Like,
I mean, I do. If we get like-minded people like yourself to come out, if we have more people like that are in it for the right reasons, I definitely see it improving. And it's going to improve with, the advances of technology.
Oh, yeah.
As far as safety goes, with, like, drones and stuff, you don't necessarily have to utilize a helicopter all the time. You just put a drone over the top.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, man. So I've had the pleasure of seeing that as well. So the cameras, like I said, they hold everybody accountable. But like I said, officer discretion, it kind of it hurts that sometimes. But as long as we get chiefs like we have now that are open-minded, that understand that community, relationships are the most important thing, because without the community, we don't have a job.
Right.
Then we'll be fine, and it'll continue to improve.
All right, guys, and we come to a close. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we got another one in the books.
Awesome.